Melanie, I'm so honored to be sitting and sharing the stage with you.
I couldn't wait for today to have our conversation
Yes.
joined with all these lovely women.
There's so much to cover. To be at this experience, to be celebrating the power, the voice, the ideas of women, there's also some really grappling and gripping conversations that we have to have, particularly around diversity, this idea of equity, as well as inclusion. And your work, even beyond your title, has been extremely massive. But we also have to look at what the last few years has entailed and what commitments have been made from corporate entities. And so I want to dive in today with you this morning about where we sort of were and where we're going. But maybe let's start with this commitment, particularly that Google made right out of the gate, particularly when we think about 2020, the murder of George Floyd, and the sort of subsequent reckonings that our country, that the world has had, and what that's meant for your team, for your organization at large, and how we're starting to think a little bit differently about the shifts that are now happening.
So it's a great question. And even before we get to like the horrific murder of George Floyd, I think we need to step back a little bit further and think about COVID and the comorbidities that were exacerbated, when we thought about who was killed by COVID. And I think that brought a spotlight that exacerbated when we started to look at police brutality. And, before George Floyd, there was Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery. And this wasn't like an episodic event. It really led to a global racial equity movement. And I think global here is important. So I have 4 generations in my household. My mom's 85, the youngest in my household. I'm a new Gigi to a granddaughter, Noelle.
That's amazing.
And my mom said, who marched in the 1960s with Dr. Martin Luther King, both of my parents did, she said, I can't believe that people outside of the United States care about police brutality towards Black Americans. I mean, she was stunned by this. And so I think that backdrop is important. So what we did at Google, like quickly recognizing, hey, this is a series of episodic events. This is a movement. And we need to immediately deepen the work that we're doing. So we went on